beyafutula n'ogimanya nagenda nenva mu bazadde bange nenfumbirwa. Kati we nafumbirwa nembeera n'omwami wange nafuna accident ne tubeera e Mulago ne mujjanjaba nentuuka ekiseera mu kumujjanjaba nenina olubuto nenzaala. Kati we nazaala nabeera ku kitanda nga maze okuzaala ndi nakawere, omwami ali ku kitanda nga siina mbeera yonna wengenda teeka mwana. Omwana ne muwa neighbors. Neighbor ne mugamba nkumire omwana wange oyo nja kujjanga buli lwaggulo nga mulaba. Ng'omwami wange yamenyeka, embiriizi zino zonna nga zaakutuka. Ne bamusalamu ekitundu bwe bati nga buli ku makya mutuntu beera nina omugjayo pamba nteekeyo omulala. Naye ng'ate ndi nakawere embeera gye ndi mumbi nga nsula wansi ku simenti. Nga siina wa Luganda ajja kundaba ku kitanda naye nga mbeera wogu bw'omu n'omwami wange. Nga famire teri n'ogumu yali azzeeko ku kitanda. Mwami wange n'awona ne tuddayo ewaka. Bwe twadde ewaka n'atandika okuddamu okukola nga tewali buzibu bwonna nga ndaba mwami wange ali bulungi. Naye yatuuka ekiseera omwami wange natandika nga okugamba ekifuba kinnuma ne muga it's okay kijja kuwona tujja kugenda nga e Mulago nga tukebera kiki ekikuluma. Twatuuka yali 2012 mwami wange waliwo neighbors eyali afudde. Naŋŋamba naye omanyi sigenda leero okukola kaŋŋende ensime entaana then nja genda nkolawo mu ttuntu. Koze kale nange ateekako kyayi. Naye mu kussaako kyayi omutima tegwambeeranga bulungi. Nabeera nga nfuluma bwe nnyingira ng'akutte akadomola ne bakiti. N'akwata akasenya. Kati mu kusenya omuntu nga wonogira balance ngenda okulama ng'alinga avaamu omusaayi. Naŋŋamba genda gw'oteekeko kyayi. Ne muga okay kangende nteekeko kyayi ne nnyingira mu nnyumba. Ngenda okudda ng'akutamye wansi. Ne mubuuza kiki obadde ki? Naŋŋamba mukyala wange labirira abaana bange. Ne mubuuza kiki? Naŋŋamba gwe labirira abaana. Kwe kudduka mu nnyumba. Ne bwe natuuka mu nnyumba ne nkomawo ku speed. Ngenda omusanga era agudde wansi.
She mentioned that she was living with the father of her children, her husband at the time, and the gentleman had been ailing for a while. While she was treating him, there used to be transit between the visits to the hospital and the visits at home. While at home, there was an escapade which resulted into something very scary for her. She was sharing with us the last moment, but also showing that at one point, the gentleman would have convulsions, would be having a stomach upset, and then at one point he had an incident where he was vomiting and she was really scared, including some of the moments where she felt that he needed help, but now she's continuing testimony from the point of maybe leading to the death of the husband.
Nemusitula nemuteeka kabalaza nemwebasa ku bisambi byange. Bano omwami wange teyavaawo. Omusaayi ne gumuggweeramu awo. Nanfaako bw'atyo ng'abaana bange first born ng'ayina emyaka 3 nga seconds wa myezi 3 nabonaabona naye nga seezaala wange tanfaako nga nnyina olubuto naye nga simanyi nti nnyina olubuto. Omwami wange bwe yafa ab'emikwano n'ab'eŋŋanda baasawo ne bajja ne babeera wenti. Seezaala wange ne bamugamba mutabani waafudde. Seezaala teyataana kujja essaawa eyo kumbudaabuda. N'agamba oyo afudde simumanyi n'oyo omukyala sikaki simumanyi. Bakazi bannange naguma Mama wange n'agamba beerawo guma tetulina kyakukola. Ne tuuka ekiseera eky'omutwalo omuziika ne bagamba temumuziika ku ttaka eryange. Ne nsalawo ne ngamba alina we yagula tugende tumuziike eyo.
The gentleman passed away at home in our hands after an escapade of him vomiting and losing blood in the process of vomiting. At the time of death, the father of our children left a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. At the time, she didn't know, but she was also pregnant with a third born. And it was a very scary moment and very sad moment for her, as you could see. Even reliving it currently, it's very painful. At that point, she did not get any support from the parents of the father of her children, and including the father-in-law who denied this father of the children that she has. He also denied the father of her children from being buried at any ancestral grounds on his side, to which she decided it was better to go where the father of her children, now deceased, had bought a piece of land elsewhere.
We twagenda ne tuziika ne tukomawo. We twakomawo ne ngenda ewa ssezaala wange ne mugamba taata omwami wange kaafudde mbadde nsaba bw'aba yakusobya musonyiwe byonna ebibaddewo naye taata nkuzizza nti abaana bano mbadde nsaba tukuze abaana mu bulungi. Ssezaala wange yanzamu n'aŋŋamba tambula ove mu luggya muno toddanga n'abaana bo siddamu okulabako. Natambula ne muviira.
The burial was a very painful experience. They chose to bury where he had bought a piece of land separate from the ancestral grounds. But after the burial, she chose to go back and speak to her father-in-law, and specifically about any disputes or any challenges they might have had with the father of her children. She apologized on behalf of the deceased father of her children and sought to mend relations for the benefit of the children who had been left behind. He was not welcoming any efforts to apologize, and therefore he sent her away and told her, "Don't return to my home."
When natambula ne muviira ne nzaayo ewaka ne ntuula ne ngamba kati ntandikiddewa. Waliwo omwami bamuyita Kasimu Mbuuga chairman. Ne ntuuka waali ne munnyonnyolamu embeera gye ndimu. N'aŋŋamba Winnie teweeraliikira ne waliwo ekitongole. Ne mubuuza kitongole kigenda kunnyamba. N'aŋŋamba waliyo balooyi eyo nja kutwalayo. Ne mugamba sirina ssente. N'aŋŋamba gwe totawaana gwe sirika leeta ebikwogerako byonna tujja gendayo bajja kuyamba. Era kwe kutambula nejja ne mwami Kasimu chairman n'andeetera mu BarefootLaw.
At the time when they chased her away from the home of her father-in-law, there were disputes in as regards to the land where she had been staying with the deceased, which had also been family land. So there was worry about whether they were going to continue to use the family land or whether they were going to have a place to relocate to. She was confused about the security of herself and the children at the place they called a home, and she was puzzled as what to do in the event an imminent eviction actually happened and they chased her away. At that time, she came in touch with a local council Mr. Kasim, who is a friend of BarefootLaw and knows about BarefootLaw. And he told her, in the event there's an eviction or any challenge to the place where you're staying currently as a home, I'd like to introduce you to some lawyers who may intervene to assist you. And that is when Kasim and her came to BarefootLaw offices.
Netujja ne mwami Kasim we twatuuka BarefootLaw yali ebeera wa Bukoto. Then nensangawo omwami mukulu Isaac ne bannyaniriza tebampisa bubi bannyaniriza kuba nti abamu sikyabajjukira mannya ne bambi nga balina emitima emirungi ne bafaayo nnyo gye ndi ne mbannyonnyola ebizibu byange nga n'abaana bange okusoma nga tebasoma kasina we ngenda tandikira nga sikola nga simanyi bwe batandika na kukola kubanga omwami yali ye akola nga buli kimu akinkolera nga bwe nkyagala bwe bannyamba ne mbannyonnyolamu ne baŋŋamba tujja kujja ku ground tulabe kiki ekiriwo kubanga sizange yali atandise okungobaganya nga sina we ngenda kudda mukulu Isaac yasitula gurupu ye ne tujja ku ground n'alaba wembeera n'agamba Winnie buli ekinaalemanga ojja kujjanga gye ndi tulabe ekyokukola.
When they came to BarefootLaw, Mr. Kasim and her, BarefootLaw's offices were based in Bukoto, close by this venue here. And when she came to BarefootLaw, she met a number of people, but key to them was Isaac Otim, who is available here, leading the session on the testimonials. And Isaac Otim and the team at BarefootLaw welcomed her warmly. She felt comfortable sharing about her issues and her perspectives, including the imminent problems she was facing. At the time, the most pressing issue was the safety of her and her children, being in a home which was on family land, and the father-in-law was threatening to evict her. Isaac expressed to her that it was indeed sad that her father-in-law would resort to doing that, but the best thing would be to also come to the ground, to the actual place or the home where they were staying, to speak to any people who may be available, but also to understand the context as to which the father-in-law may want to evict her or chase them away. Indeed, Isaac Otim and a few members of BarefootLaw went to the actual home in Masaja to see where she was staying, interacted with a few relatives, and then decided that indeed she needed the help of BarefootLaw concerning the issue of staying in the home, securing her interest as a mother of children who had been born to her by the deceased, staying in the home in Masaja. From that moment on, he emphasized to her that in the event there's a moment of eviction, chasing her away, he would be available and the members of BarefootLaw would be available to assist, to emphasize what she's entitled to, what her children are entitled to, and how to assist her going forward.
Buli ekyankyalankyanga bannange naddukanga wa Isaac. Buli ekyannyiganga naddukanga wa Isaac. Nga Isaac nga wentuuka muga Isaac. Leero nno sirina kyakulya Isaac nga yafuuka mama yafuuka taata. Bannange nga lwentuuka waali nga ngamba Winnie nedda gurupu yange yiino gye ndi nayo. Nga bannaye buli omu akwata kyayina. Agamba Winnie genda owa abaana basobole okulya. Winnie genda oweerere abaana. Isaac simanyi kyamukolera. Isaac anyambye ebintu bingi nnyo.
The moment the family saw that Winnie came with lawyers to the ground, they paused any avenues of trying to evict her from the land or the home where she was staying with the children. But on top of the presence of legal representation from BarefootLaw or people coming to the home, Isaac, in his own volition, chose to support the family and the children that Winnie had at the time. And that constituted also any other support in as far as the basic needs of the children and the home. These were supported by him, but also the members of BarefootLaw, to which he feels grateful that one, she was not evicted from the home because they saw someone was concerned about her plight, but also the continuous basic support to the children in her home.
This is Winnie's story is a long one, which can go on, but for us as BarefootLaw, Winnie is BarefootLaw person number one, or the person that we first have a hands-on experience in terms of really trying to increase access to justice and using technology. Her story is unique because, one, Winnie had no idea about Barefoot Law. And that time, most of our work was actually online. So how she got access to Barefoot Law was through a youth counselor called Kasim in her village, who was following Barefoot Law on Facebook. So how she got to us was Kasim sent a message on Facebook. And then we were able to retrieve that message. We were able to make a follow-up call to him. And then, of course, we were able to schedule in an appointment. And then, of course, since then, we've been able to help her. Winnie's children are here. Nathan, Paddy, and Luis, maybe they can just stand up for recognition. They're at the extreme end there. Those are Barefoot Law children and the Barefoot Law team in all ways. Yes, of course, she said Isaac, but it's always been a whole team in terms of reaching out to her. At this time, let me go to my left. With us here is Pasculina. Imatitie. Itie. Apoya. There. Jin woke ko bwani pachiti cheme.
Pachiti cheme.
Okay. Of course, she had already mentioned that her home was in Icheme. Wake up penny kong. Ame put jini bini winyo. Nying jome Barefoot Law ikwena.
A winyo cheme.
That I heard about Barefoot Law from Icheme. Yorango.
Yora ana chakam kere. Ana yai pachutura. Ata word borel chiel. Nisho ya warga what kede sub county. El chiel jata koni en penyo cho ya warga ile mono. Ana me yatina moro choya. Tenu ngoni atina ni ero giri purunu tia kwana sini abisiel. Ata kello anko ni cho ya warga kitpekana noni cho ya warga no anka what kede sub county. Atina ni te cho ya warga tater warga ni borel chiel. Te dong stam. Te wor borel siario. Te dong stam. Ata dong kwanyo warga na ni ter bod jagi sieme. Jagi sieme te cho neno warga na ni. Te penya ni. Ye ni amak chali. Ata ko ni aye. Te ko ni an amak chali. Ka amako amitu kopi saboro. Achiela weke sieme. Achiela chwalo yam. Eno kena word kere kampara but your food Johnny Boru.
Of course, she said she heard about Barefoot Law from the sub-county chief of Icheme. By that time, his name was now he's the principal private secretary at Yam district, but by then he was called Mr. Kwan Robert. So how I got to know Barefoot Law is that I wanted to write a letter. So I went to the chairman, LC1, to write a letter, but the chairman could not write a letter. So when the chairman could not write a letter, I went to my son, Steven, to write a letter to a sub-county chief, of which he did. And then the sub-county chief told me that I am going to take your photo, I'm going to take one to Yam, I'm going to send one to Kampala to Barefoot Law, and then we see how we can get help. Imagine wake up and you come, you need to chung borwakan, acti chani and attend and body petier. You talk about Gina Mekoti, Mera Mumi, Jini Chahacha, you balini.
Barani kitama chakote merekere. Nindua para mwe, nduma mwen. Nindua pierre we a beach. Chiele nuchu.
Chielo diku motieno.
Chiel me tieno. Tiu duogi chukwana ngwen.
You get a lohe.
Cha duogi chukwana ngwen. Matatelo yo bera duljuan. Namario bera polisi chan. Nama dek and Pasculina Oming. Nama ngwen deboro chiko maratabo. Eka a policy sante ko bani pachi ngado tia ringi panga donyi yilum ate kuni nga tia ringi panga ni ente kuno ngwechu a dul jo ante cha ko ngwe adul re to ko ibur pe pien kanuno tiu go break a ya ndo te ko bachung te don wero kapo ni aman chia te beriwi chia te porwi kapo malo te tongu tumi kere gupu tumi te porro ko pe pedange ne por pe doka dwoko tutung kapo poti digwia tutung te tongu chapola bisiel ama ungidi weng eta chunga parate pe kaunu arate pe nu tongu ngurako na kata dong chako luongo jirani na dako moro no ti bi kulu kanene te dong chako luongo beti ani beti ko ringo ngato ti atonga kia mira kuki durpe e ka wuore no ti shangati alwak Yama wore tia luo wore te ko bitoto ni mama ena yini ti winyi radio ni kai ne radio ko ngato tia luongi aya beti dong te winya tia luo beti dong te wato lumo ti wuj te chwenyo mach te dong chako ringi mach cha do chako ringi mach en dong te chop yi lodo ko te donyo ko yi lodo aya beti dang te nunga tia chunga beti dong te chako kukoduru ajo ring jo bini chu tia bino jo yongea nang tia bino akono ma dako mora chieli loka turi wacha dok te chako kukoduru ni chwa nyaro ko aman jo dong te bino te nunga anda tia chunga poda man chia man tia chama chung jo dong te makata ke pin te penya ni ngeo ngato toi ana te ko bangeo eta ke lopetina ni tuchi wana ko bipe waka una ben mo pe waka una tuchi ya ta kwanye kanu na ka joni na wanu ti ngwe wot ke dini te do ka na ka da khatal chao do ka ta khatal tenna loni o gwalam pros te luongo ana ko ni ba girani akelo petena ka ko bigu pe wuri tuchi unu jo kai tuchu uni me unu jo turu wa jarak bine ko jo gora ko nen pien pacho tichiegi ena ko bini pede timunu ginu pede yaga unu ka ginu tuchu wega unu jami metunga locha bedi bere pede gudu unu an peato kita na ko botina na ko ni peato etu wega unu jami na bedi bere eka muna kenne ogwang te penya o pati ngi ngato toy ana ko no gwang ka ko be ba kelo petina te ko ni tuchi wa yinde to ko ana te ko ni o ke jaspara no to ni o ke nya ni ana ko bi ni ko mo kechi ko meno to ana ko bi te penya sha ko la ngoen an por ye do ko pi te ko ni ka dong ti amon lor unu kere da khata te kwanye kanu ko te chwala na khata para mo chwala le te ko ni chwala ta para ya wor nang pena ti nge ni chiani en rongun ba remo poliet pera ti nge ni chiani ongun dongo atino mina chiel jok patre kena ye dong te ma ko ni te penya ni ti ko ana ko bati ko ni pe ita ana ko ni pe ata ti ko ko ne ti makka ti ko ko ti makka da kata no ti dai te o kitano te mako pi pere bere wi to ka malo te dong mako pi na ta no ni o kero pi shu papa ya ite o ki bini kwena ata para pi shu papa sha do ka tunu kanu doctor do puru pe ni ngeo ko ni bini ye ni ata ko ni ati ngai ni kan kwena na ko ni ata para e pe ni ngeo ngato to ya na ko ba ngeo ni nga ana ko ni ke jaspa puru mede choyo chao te dong chako tichi ko madam tia boyo chiani peda tia ngero ni chiani ongun ba te boyo te kwanya tera ko wi pieta ya dong tera wi pieta purna tia ngeyo koma eti chiana ja dong cha bichi ginani na ka cha para chiel jono te tia ko tichi ko madong te lora tera kwene yo ata tera yeni ya ka cha para chiel la cha te ngeyo pencha bisiel kuno tia goyo chimdo ko ni tie ni pero cho amono ke ken ni wando woro tim ti choro ko dong borjo gora ana ko ni pe wori tim cha da cho itap atina muna chiel te goyo chim te ko ne man jo don ti wuro yako diege jo chako ana te ko bi nyaka kene ni Mary ke mi a chimo ka kop kere ni a pe ko bi ye ye cho kana ko bi pe pien rer ma ko palo ma ko kanen kere ka kanen ana ko ni pe mi ana ko bi pe ko bi don rai te mi a chimo ana ko no ke ni ti winya ni ati winya ko bi jo ati kanu du pe gud jam me tunga nyeri wero wunu beri an pe to aduga ko ni ko mi duga ko ana ko ni aduga ko ana ko itinga yung ati ko kani ni ati ange giri yin ni ko ni ana ko ana duga ko ka ta kara da buru ko no aman jo ni te bedo piny te kwanyo ranga be sena chien o te kwanyo modek leta chien o te kela tapa chia o kelo jamini ate neno ranga ni ate kanyo ni ranga ni ngao miyo te kono ranga ni jo tunga nyeke eno ni kere mo ni bintuo kere ate koni duoko unu jamini duchi bere kare ing'eyo ni ana dano ki pekitoa rikipida ana pida duoko unu pa mit ano ranga na tiyo ranga na piro tika wole.
Most of us who are seeing Madame Pasculina Oming here, she was very normal just with us, with her full arms and full limbs. So there was a boundary dispute between her family, and one gentleman called Jasper Okech. So Okech waited when, that was on the 14th of April in the year 2015. So he waited. So the dispute, the background is they had a boundary dispute. They went to the chairman's office, and the chairman ruled in favor of Pasculina. And then on this particular day in question, the perpetrator, who was Jasper Okech, he waited for her when there were 4 of them with the friends. He came chasing after her. The other friends ran away, but he basically targeted her. And when she was trying to run, he was able to catch up with her, and he brought a panga, a machete, and he chopped the first cut off this left hand, and it basically fell down. And then for her, she continued standing. So he brought again the panga and kept again cutting her hand, which was on her head. But she says that she did not fall down. She just kept standing, and he kept cutting. So at that point, she says if she had fallen down, he was going to cut off her neck. So he basically kept cutting off her hand to the point that he crushed all this other hand, and just like the other hand, it also had to be amputated when she was taken to hospital. Now the risk was that it was going to create a clan and family war, because then her family and her clan wanted to go and revenge on the family of Okech. But she's like, no, I will not take this. They tried to bring some gift, a basin of beans, some cooking oil, that for her to take care. And the people in the village knew that she was already dead. But she told those people that, look, don't do anything to anyone. I will not die. I will come back. And of course, she's alive here. Let's clap for her. That is the resilience. So it's not that she was born deformed. She was born with arms, and she was a normal person, but because of injustice or people not observing rule of law, that's what has happened, and it's changed her life. So most times when she's moving, she has to move with someone. Even those who will have seen when she has to take breakfast, they have to feed her. If she's drinking water, the closest you can do is give her a straw. And of course, that's how it has been. But at that time, we were doing work actually with Women of Uganda Network, WUGNET. They're in a patch. And Oyam is another district and maybe about 50, 60 kilometers away from where we were. So the chairman, LC5, who she called, reached out to us and said, BarefootLaw, there's this woman that really needs help. So we were supposed to go back to Kampala. But based on what the pictures which were shared with us on our platforms and what we had seen, we were like, we cannot ignore this story. So what we did is, as BarefootLaw, we drove all the way from Apache cross to Icheme, abandoning our key project area, and we reached out to our home just to inquire. And then, of course, with other details now came, which are also challenges or bottlenecks in access to justice. One, we found that from the time after the incident, they had appeared in court 21 times, and the hearing had never taken place. 21 times. And then, because at that time, at least now, the judiciary has opened up more court structures and courts are more accessible. But by that time, the trial had to happen all the way from Oyam to Lira. So the team would then have to travel all the way from Oyam. They leave very early in the morning and come back late at night. The witnesses had also now refused to go to court because they were tired. They'd gone to court 21 times, and then they said, for us, when we go to court, one, there is no food to eat. Two, the transport fare, the money is very expensive, and even the family which is supposed to help there would not step in. So then, of course, cut the long story short, BarefootLaw then intervened. Then also the suspect had got bail and was out enjoying life, and of course he was threatening family saying, this time I will finish you, which is among the things. So the suspect got bail and then he disappeared. But when we stepped in, the hearing actually was able to move, was able to proceed. And I can say that Okech was convicted and sentenced to 10 years. We were able to transport the witnesses, make sure that the officers, Mr. Chaya, if I'm right, from the Uganda police, want to thank your officers, because even when this case went to court 21 times, your officers never gave up on this old lady. They were persistent and they said, no, we must get this man. And again, when he was granted bail, he disappeared. He first ran to Lugazi. When again, police tracked him and were able to arrest him, he ran to Sudan. And then one particular evening, when he just crossed from Sudan to the border, they again were able to get him. We got a call that he was around, and BarefootLaw was able to intervene. But from the digital aspect also, we also again want to thank the judiciary, because for us, this is just one case of access to justice, because we're able to broadcast her plight, and of course, different members were to come in. But our first ever BarefootLaw Facebook Live to the world and in Uganda was in respect to Pasculina's case, which happened at Chief Magistrate Court of Lira, where we were allowed to broadcast the event, the hearing, the process live, and of course we were also able to get justice. But
Iborwa Pashu, BarefootLaw ukonyo wa yora pola pola. Anana kopi BarefootLaw konya timu bal, mia pa timu bali kom tota. Pemeno yo gina inu ikoba do eno kenda wanoko. BarefootLaw karadong case wano dong pekote winyi nyimkot. Yaria para bishir BarefootLaw te do nyiborwa. Karo donyo te chakomenya wakony me wore nyimkot. Chahena ya dong korwa ta ero winyo. Utatik kede Uganda police, utatik kede utaka me police me chako kwanyo siadene pashu. Tairi nyimu piro, karo kwanyo tairi nyimu piro, ta winyo kopkani na chela ken adong te koro ka ngolo kop. So ikano karo ngolo kop, karo dong koro ngolo kop, ngato timu bal teng waishuko. Ota moyo mwakareo kunbero kai wingwai. So ateni BarefootLaw te chung kedwa te meyo kopo te ngolo kum atir. Kopo te ngolo, kopo mano te ngolo ni dwe abong wen me de ma boro, ria para boro. So iyunge kop dong ngolo te swalo dana ibuit mo ka para beach. Inge kano BarefootLaw poto wa ko pashu. Budu chung kedwa. Tana no gini mati ni koro meritie. Ote minyo gini kony, ote gari mati ot rooms adek. Ameo ugero tiyo duchu pukore. Ona holenyo dushu, te minyo kari jama me otacha me buru ye dushu ya ber. Atamu gina nenu dong kare no.
Okay. I think he has partly emphasized what I was saying. We are almost winding up. Of course, you said, for me, I'm very grateful to the Barefoot Law team, of course, the Uganda police and everyone that stood with us. Me personally, I'm very grateful for Barefoot Law because at the time of their intervention, they also saved me from creating a crime because we were so bitter and we were so angry about what had been done to our mother to a point that we also wanted to kill the people that had done this. We wanted to destroy them. But because of Barefoot Law's intervention, we understand that there's the law and there are people that we can work with. And then, of course, also, he said, of course, we helped to when the suspect was on the run for over 2 years, we worked with Barefoot Law, working with our officers, working with different members to track, and we got him and he was convicted and he was sentenced in jail. But the Barefoot Law team, after Pasculina's case came to an end, one, they continue to provide support. We've also done a number of community trainings, virtual trainings in YAM, and sensitizations to ensure that this kind of incidents does not happen. We harness technology, we go to radio stations, we do a lot of teachings, and of course we broadcast material through our SMS platforms. We have our online number, but of course we continue to work to them. I can tell you, in summary, whether it is Winnie or whether it is Pasculina, if anyone goes after them, Barefoot Law will know. If anyone threatens them, Barefoot Law will know. And for us as an organization, we will come after you always with the full force of the law. God bless you all and thank you for your time.